This is part one of our introduction to the Gospels. And here on the side, you see the regular symbols that are made for the four Gospel writers. Mark, the lion; John, the eagle; Luke, the ox; and Matthew, the man. And we'll discuss as we go on what those symbols mean and how interesting and important they are. Okay, so let's begin. The English word gospel derives from the Anglo-Saxon word Godspell, which can mean either a story about God or a good story. The latter meaning is in harmony with the Greek word gospel, euangelion, which means good news. Good news, you and angelion. You see the word angel in the middle there, which means one who brings news, and the you means good. In secular Greek, euangelion referred to a good report about an important event. The four Gospels are the good news about the most significant events in all of history: the life, the sacrificial death, the resurrection of Jesus of Nazareth. So there's our little lexical moment. But think about this, that this is good news, good news. So that is the exact definitive parameter for what's to follow. This is good news. It's not bad news, for example. Okay, let's move on. And what are the Gospels? What do we understand when we use that word? You might put it this way: if you were a librarian and you had various books on a trolley and you had to put them back in their separate compartments, oh, this is a history book, this is a book of poetry, this is a book of, I don't know, film study, this is a biography. So where would you put the Gospels? Okay, so it includes history, sure. It includes biography, sure. It includes maybe a film study type of thing, you know, the Jesus films. But here's the point: Gospels are not biographies in the modern sense of the word, since they do not intend to present a complete life of Jesus. If you think of John chapter 20, verse 30, these things, 31, these things are written that you might believe. So that is the key giveaway to what the Gospels are all about. Apart from the birth narratives, they give very, very little information about the first 30 years of Jesus's life, just an odd story in Luke chapter 2. And then Luke and Matthew have birth stories. The others don't. And then they have some information about the 3-year public ministry of Jesus, but the overwhelming majority of the gospel text is concerned with the last week of Jesus's life. And so though they are completely accurate historically and they present important biographical details of Jesus' life, the primary purposes of the Gospels are theological and apologetic. These things are written so that you might believe. Now, I know that's written in John, but we're just taking it from John and applying it to all of them, because all of them have that same intent. So it's really rather like an evangelistic tract. It's something that you hand to somebody with the idea that they're going to respond, repent and believe, that they're going to respond to what they've been given. This is good news. How are you going to take it? And the Gospels provide authoritative answers to questions about Jesus's life and ministry, and they strengthen believers' assurance regarding the reality of their faith. And this is in the beginning part of Luke's Gospel. He's saying, so that you might have certainty about the things that you have been taught, so that you can know for sure. Okay, but here's the point. The Gospels are not biographies, they're evangelistic tracts. Think about that. Okay. And three of them share a common point of view. There were many fake gospels, many spurious gospels that were written in the first few centuries of the church. But from the earliest times, the church has accepted Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John as authentic. Authentic, that means real, that means genuine. That means, as far as the church, the people who are running it would see, that these are legitimated by being written by eyewitnesses or the accounts of those who attended the eyewitnesses, very close to the actual events. This is real, these other stuff are fake. It's worth your while to examine some of those fake gospels, and you will immediately see the huge gulf that there is between the authentic gospels that we find in the Bible and these much later productions. They all have an agenda. They seem to be more focused on miraculous in a different kind of a way. But read it for yourself and have a look. Okay, now this common point of view is shared by Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Now, each gospel has a unique perspective, but Matthew, Mark, and Luke seem very, very close, and John seems somewhat separate. And because of that, Matthew, Mark, and Luke are known as the synoptic gospels. That comes from two Greek words. Syn means together, and optic means to see. They're seeing together, or they share a common point of view. Matthew, Mark, and Luke, for example, focus on Christ's Galilean ministry, and John focuses on his ministry in Judea. The synoptic gospels have multiple parables. John records, well, none really. There are some that are a little bit like parables, like the shepherd or the vine, but it's very, very different. And John and the synoptic gospels record only two common events. Isn't that interesting? Walking on the water, feeding the 5,000. So these differences between John and the synoptic gospels, however, are not contradictory, but complementary. They fit together like pieces of a jigsaw. They're additional information and it slots together. It's not jarringly opposite. Okay, so let's think about this. 4 unique perspectives. Why are there 4 gospels? Each gospel writer wrote from a unique perspective for a different audience, and we'll go into much more detail as we go on. As a result, each gospel contains distinctive elements, and taken together, the 4 gospels weave a complete portrait of Jesus of Nazareth. And the 4 symbols, man, lion, ox, and eagle, are drawn from Ezekiel chapter 1 as a way of understanding the mystery of God. And these 4, again, are referenced in Revelation chapter 4. So here's your homework, here's your teaser at the end of this session. It's the simple question at the bottom of your screen now. Why do you think that these different creatures are used? And in the next session, we'll pick up here and start to examine that point. Okay.